From the studios of NBC 12 and ABC 25, this is First Coast News at 6.
Tragic. It was just a shock to hear it this morning.
Just devastating. You don't have words for it. Just think of the families involved with this. It's hard on them.
Right now on First Coast News at 6, tragedy in the air. A Black Hawk helicopter goes down off the Florida Panhandle. 11 military crew members feared dead.
There's always hope. There's always hope.
Tonight, the search continues for the survivors. First Coast News has live team coverage from Eglin Air Force Base and Camp Lejeune.
Story we've been staying on top of all day long, and at this hour, crews are still looking for any sign of that helicopter that crashed off the coast.
Meanwhile, we're learning more about the 11 Marines and soldiers who were on board when that chopper went down. Let's first, though, take a look at a map. A UH-60 Black Hawk went down in the Navarre Sound. That's between Pensacola and Destin. The troops were doing a training exercise near Eglin Air Force Base.
And here's what we know this hour. 2 helicopters went out for training. 1 turned back because of the fog. Military officials in Louisiana say the crew was very experienced. They served in the wake of Hurricane Katrina and several other natural disasters. And we're still waiting to learn the identity of those 11 military service members.
Let me be very clear. At this hour, our priorities, my priorities, are search and rescue for our soldiers and the Marines. And secondly is to take care of our families. And we are doing both of those.
And those helicopters were piloted by instructor pilots, each with several thousand hours in the air. And 4 of the crew members were part of the Louisiana National Guard and 7 based at Camp Lejeune.
Tonight we have live team coverage from Eglin Air Force Base and Camp Lejeune. But we begin with First Coast News' Clark Foraker. Now he is live near that crash site with an update now. Clark?
And the problem that the search and rescue operators have had all day has been the heavy, dense fog here in the Navarre Sound. The visibility has been 20, 30 feet. And in the last 30 minutes, the fog has lifted. And for the first time, we are getting a glimpse out into the Navarre Sound. Take a look out in the middle of the Navarre Sound. You see 5 to 10 search and rescue boats that are parked together in the middle of the Sound with their emergency response lights on. I can tell you in the past 10 minutes, we've seen 2 other boats come from far away here speeding into this site. We do not know what they are looking at, those boats out there in the middle of the Navarre Sound right now. But we do know the traffic there has increased in the past 20 minutes. And we have been told by locals who live here on the coast that that is the area where these training missions typically happen. A number of them say they heard the crash last night, that this is where they heard investigators looking and doing their search and rescue mission overnight. Again, we do not know what this site is, but we do know the activity in this area in the middle of the Navarre Sound has increased over the past 30 minutes as this fog has lifted. And residents here say this is a very common area where these Black Hawk helicopters and these training missions happen. All day, debris has been washing up here on the shore. While the fog was covering the Navarre Sound, search and rescue operators were walking up and down the beach simply looking for items that washed up on shore. They found the doors of the Black Hawk helicopter, landing wheels, seat covers. And I spoke to one woman earlier today who says she actually found some of that stuff during her morning walk on the beach and called investigators to alert them.
I got a text this morning there was a crash in this area, so I just took the dogs down the beach and seeing if there was something I could help out with, and with their search and rescue, and came across some seats of the craft and some doors and wheels and other objects of the helicopter.
So this is a big development and something search and rescue operators have been waiting on all day for this fog to lift. It has been heavy, and as you can imagine, just difficult to search for anything when the fog is that heavy. This visibility, it is the first time in the past 30 minutes that the visibility has been this good at any point during the day today, and it certainly is not clear by any means. The search and rescue operation will continue into I'm live here in Navarre Sound. I'm Clark Foraker, First Coast News, NBC 12, ABC 25.
Thank you, Clark. 7 Marines who took part in that joint training mission were based in Camp Lejeune, which is in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Brad Berkey from our sister station in Charlotte is in Camp Lejeune, continuing our team coverage.
All 11 military personnel on board that helicopter are presumed to have died, including the 7 Marines who are members of an operations group here at Camp Lejeune.
Just terrible, like they're part of our community.
The Black Hawk helicopter went down off the Florida coast. 7 of those on board were Marines who were part of a Special Operations Command group at Camp Lejeune. This tailor shop just down the road from the main gate of the base has served the needs of Marines for over 20 years.
Well, I heard that there was a crash.
It is not the first time, nor will it be the last, that he and so many others in this town have to deal with the death of young service members.
Well, it hurts, but, you know, we lose them in battle as well as things like this, so.
It's hard.
It's hard.
You can see Marines and families almost around every corner here, where on this day the sadness touches everyone.
They take care of each other, and we try our best to take care of them.
So when something like this happens, it must hit pretty close to home.
Sure. They're our kids.
The investigation of that crash continues. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much. And as you're seeing there, folks in that area shocked and devastated about those involved in the crash. First Coast News' Garen Flowers is live now at Eglin Air Force Base. And Garen, the community there coming together during this tragedy.
Jeannie, that's right. It's amazing how the people in town have come together and sort of rallied around trying to help law enforcement. They've even come out here to talk to reporters, to bring us food and bring law enforcement food and offer them whatever services they could provide to try to help with this tragic incident. Thick fog still permeates over the search area where 11 service members crashed in a Black Hawk helicopter. It wasn't until early afternoon when a rescue helicopter could help boats on the water search for the 7 Marines and 4 air crew members.
It makes me sad to know that, that I, was on a Black Hawk before and that all happened. So
30-year-old Patrick Hoffman says he served 8 years in the Army. He heard the crash happen Tuesday night.
It was a loud thump. It was a loud thump off the side of the building off Hellenbach right there.
As many Navarre residents wait for answers, they're grieving those killed in the crash. Most here will tell you it's an honor to live among those who serve.
I thought it was very sad. I hate to see or hear about anything like that happening.
Well, it's a sad day when all our military, they're doing all these good things for us, and something like this happens. It's, you really feel bad for them and their families, especially their families.
An officer even told me that people have been offering different pieces of technology or whatever they can to try to help with search efforts. And to go along, to talk about the crash a little bit, authorities say that there is a 6-mile stretch of water they are now searching to try to find out what happened with this crash. For now, live in Navarre, I'm Garen Flowers, First Coast News, NBC 12, ABC 25.
Garen, thanks so much. I talked late this afternoon with the retired 3-star general who was head of West Point. Lieutenant General retired Buster Hagenbeck lives in Jacksonville now. We talked about what possibly could have caused the crash from his years of experience in military aviation. So how many years have you worked with Black Hawk crews?
I've been involved with Black Hawk crews since they came into the inventory in the Army, so well over 20 plus years. I suspect that they flew in a heavy fog and they encountered and described as vertigo. He could not make a determination either by his instruments or visually what was up and what was down. And if there was an equipment failure, it could have driven him right down in the water. These pilots fly at extraordinarily low altitudes. It's called nap of the earth, and they fly over terrain features, and there's not a lot of room for error.
General Hagenbeck says it's clearly a tragedy, and his thoughts go out tonight to the families involved.
And there are organizations that make sure an emotional loss doesn't become a financial burden for families of servicemen. Each military service has its own relief society, which provides financial help to service family in need.
We try our darndest to meet the needs of the family, to deal with the loss, to help them through this tough times, to realize that somebody has given their life for their country, and there's just no way to describe it, or there's no way to do anything except try to be helpful.
And last year, the Relief Society, which runs on donations, helped 64,000 families worldwide. And please stay with us on air and online, firstcoastnews.com. We will keep you up to date on what's going on with this horrible military helicopter crash. Well, moving out, we have some pretty good news for the family of a local veteran living in nasty conditions.
Plus, done deal. Later in sports, we'll introduce you to the newest members of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Tracking showers and thunderstorms on Doppler radar, especially from areas of Hilliard to Oakleaf to Middleburg, where they're heading and when thunderstorms could pop this weekend.